I don't want to waste the time, so there'll be no intro. Hello, everybody. It's been a while. Yeah, we've had a lot of things to actually do recently, so we've not been able to post videos as frequently, but hopefully we'll be able to get up to speed again and start posting videos regularly. Yeah, I'm kind of wearing something different this time. It's kind of cold, so you're gonna probably see me wear it in a couple of videos because I probably should have a couple of videos at once. But yeah, in today's video, we'll be reviewing a pitch from from Dragon's Den, which is the highest valuated valuation that they've actually most amount of money an entrepreneur has gotten out of Dragon's Den, and it's actually some of the highest valuations I've actually seen in the show. So let's watch it. Let's watch the video and see what it's about.
Hello, my name is Francisco Gimenez. I live in London and I'm originally from Mexico City. Our product is the biggest innovation in the hairdressing world since the hair dryer.
It's paint.
It's hair dye, no?
It's mixing paints to create new colours.
I think it looks hair dye-ish.
Well, they can match my hair.
I'm not sure there's much can be done with that, to be fair.
Our business is pursuing a very large opportunity in a very large industry. So obviously our ask is high, but we believe that this will be $1 billion company.
Right from the get-go, I like his confidence. Something that people don't really understand with entrepreneurs is that you have to be delusional to some extent. You have to have so much confidence in what you're doing. If you don't have confidence in what you're doing, how's the next person going to have confidence in what the product you're pitching, right? So that's something that's actually key.
Hello, Dragons. My name is Francisco Gimenez, and I am the CEO and founder of You Beauty. Let me get you started by imagining the following. You are a hairdresser in the salon, and your client just showed up. And then you have to prepare her perfect hair color formula. This is what Juve is going to solve. How it works is you log in, find your client, put the ball in the hair color device, and start dispensing your hair color for your client.
Very light blonde violet. She's got good hair, that client.
That's amazing.
Great hair choice, yeah.
So before you are actually laughing or thinking, what am I hearing about a bald guy telling me about a hair color business? Let me tell you that this is my second beauty tech company in hair color. And the first one I successfully sold for more than 200 million.
All right,
Francisco.
guys, we have to pause here. We have to pause here. And that's something that probably this has already won.
Show's over.
Anybody over, most investors. He's successfully exited. He's worked in this industry before. He's proven that he can do it. He's been there, he's done that. So, most people that hear this, this is a very good sign for most people. It doesn't mean he'll be successful in the next business, but showing that you have knowledge on the industry you're working in is like a key factor, and showing that you've actually done it before. It's an extremely good sign.
I'd like to make you an offer. I'll offer you all of the money you're about to ask me for the percentage that you want.
So let me tell you about you. It helps eliminate the waste that happens in the salon where the hairdresser has to open multiple tubes of color to mix color for a single client. But it is a lot more than just a dispensing device. It actually saves automatically all of your formula creations for your clients, keeping the hair color history. It actually tracks all of the inventory that you have been using, and it automatically restocks you so that you don't have to worry about ordering. To tell you about the business model is quite straightforward. It's very similar to that of the printer and ink business model, where we are not selling the hair color device. We really are selling the proprietary hair color that goes inside our system. You, as a salon, will pay £49 per month to lease all of the equipment. And then on top of that, you pay for the hair color that you actually use as you use it. To put it in perspective, a salon of 4 to 5 hairdressers can use between 800 to 1,000 pounds in hair color per month, and we have an operating margin of 55%. So a salon that uses you should contribute about 500 pounds per month in profit. We have a couple of patents. We have been working in this for 3 years. We just launched, literally just launched. We have already a waiting list of about 500 salons. So I am here requesting an investment of 250,000 pounds for 1% of the company.
That's massive. What? To be honest, 250,000 pounds for 1% is huge. Like, so, but the one thing I want to mention over here is that so far it seems like the product is targeted more towards the high end because, and this is part of the issue. I feel like, some businesses make part of the mistakes that some businesses make, right? The first thing is that the device is proprietary to those 8 bottles of the hair dye. So no other hair dye work with it. And this already gives room for someone to just come make something that's a dye dispenser and just undercuts him. Maybe removes the electronics, makes it cheaper so people can actually buy the dispenser and just sell it out. But it's a gap that he's leaving for another person to compete with him in the same space, right? Right now, we already know that dyes are just dyes that are in a tube, but this is where, like, I would like to see more or hear more of his strategy into how he's going to prevent that. But yeah, he has a couple of patents. Hopefully, they get into the patents in this video.
1%.
Thank you for your consideration.
A tech platform intended to revolutionize the way professional hairstylists apply color is the brainchild of Francisco Gimenez.
Well done. Great pitch.
Thank you.
Francisco is seeking
to be honest, the moment he said that thing about him haven't been successful in this industry before and exited, like he has already won anybody over, like, in general.
£250,000 in return for a 1% stake in his business.
I think Peter was only half joking there. I actually thought he was going to get up and shake your hand on an offer.
News of the entrepreneur's previous success appears to have softened up Peter Jones. But can Francisco convince the Dragons that his current enterprise has similar potential?
Francisco, going back to what you said about you give these to the salons and they pay a rent. Was it
49 pounds per month.
Just for the equipment?
Just for the equipment. That includes the iPad.
Yeah, and what does all that cost you?
So the unit economics for us is that right now with low volumes, we're paying £600 per device.
So it pays for itself every year, say.
Yeah.
Now, so the actual dye, now I'm assuming that you are challenging the big dye companies, or are you buying this directly wholesale in bulk from the companies? Or...
No, we engineer our own formulas. We work with a lab in Switzerland that specializes only in hair color formulation.
Right.
And that's where the business is, like doing it, buying the product, but the highest quality. So,
fine. So I have a salon, and I'm buying Clarion or whatever the dye stuff is, like for like.
Mm-hmm.
What would your price be?
Like gram by gram, our product costs the same as the top luxury color, professional color in our category. But with our system, we're reducing so much waste that you as a salon owner should see savings of whatever you're spending today. Because think about it, if you're in the salon, a hairdresser will normally open 2 tubes of color to create a mix. There's a really good chance that the second part of that tube of color doesn't get used and goes to waste.
Right.
So then we can be quality, but you get to save money.
So that's actually an interesting one. He's charging the same price as everybody else in the market for gram for each dye that's already sold, and it's going to be a subscription model. The issue with that is that the only value proposition for a hair salon at the moment is saving, reducing the amount of wastage in the dyes they use. And with that, I mean, it is now for the biggest question right now is that is it a big enough problem for hair salons in general, and is it a cheap enough alternative? Is the thing is if he's targeting the top line dye products, right? There are also cheaper dyes. There are some salons that I'm pretty sure would use cheaper dyes to get the job done, right? But he will be. It's kind of hard to kind of gauge whether it's a like flawless idea or it's just it might be a gimmick. But at the moment, it's actually a very good value proposition to be able to save salons from wasting dye, which also means that they're saving a lot more money. But yeah. Let's continue.
Francisco, I'm a woman of a certain age. I dye my hair pretty consistently, but I'm extremely brand loyal. And it's my understanding that most incredible stylists and even certain salons they have an affiliation with a certain brand. So are you seeing any kind of pushback so far?
Obviously, there's legacy of the people who may be with brand A or B, and then they're training that system. So there's a little bit of friction, but I will have to say, when they see this, they get it.
That's the incentive. The machine is the
But
incentive.
that's the entry door.
hardware is the incentive.
That's the incentive to get them started. And then after that, then they want to test and make sure that it works. And just about every single demo that we have done to the people that have requested one have switched.
So you're not getting a lot of resistance?
No, quite honestly, I'm not.
Francisco.
To be honest, there's really no way to tell if you're getting a lot of resistance until they've actually started providing the service to salons, right? Yeah, there may be people on the waiting list, but do they actually go through with it? That's another question that needs to be asked.
Have you got revenue forecast for the next couple of years?
Yeah, so for this year, we should be doing slightly shy of like £1 million. And then next year, we should do about 6 million.
You said your previous business was acquired for $200 million?
Euros, yeah.
Euros, okay. So presumably you can fund this business yourself?
I have invested significantly into this.
Yeah.
But I have 2 funds that are partners with me in this journey.
And how much have they invested in total?
So the total amount of investment into the business is north of £5 million.
5 million?
And in terms of the capital...
The thing is, I wonder what's costing them that much money to make the product, actually. Let's continue here.
You've raised. Are you raising more money?
I'm raising more money. So obviously, this is part of a larger fundraising effort.
How much?
So we're raising 4 million in total.
Okay. And how much of that have you raised already?
We are 3/4 of the way through.
There's £1 million left in this round? Okay. And who are those investors? What kind of investors is it?
So I have a couple of high net worth individuals that have a connection to the beauty industry as well. And then the existing investors are participating.
And they've all invested at a pre-money valuation of 25 million?
Yes, that's part of the round. It's really like having more smart people working and being my partners that make it successful.
You're the smart one asking for 250 for 1%. Look, I think you're great. However, if I have to stick to my true rules, I don't get out of bed for 1%.
Yeah, I get it.
So for that reason, I'm out.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
To be honest, I understand where Tucker is coming from here, because the thing is, if you invest, this is really early stages and the valuation is extremely high. Like, a lot of money has been put in. Right now, we don't know what that money is really being used for. I'm kind of shocked that, 5 million euros has been put into the business already, because what is actually costing them that much money? And also, if you invest in this kind of business for 1%, let's say 250,000 pounds for 1%, right? That means that there's a lot of risk, number one, because it's early stage, and number two, dilution. So they may need to raise more money in the future. And number two, for this business to actually start paying itself back, his future projection was for the first year 1 million, a bit shy of £1 million. And, but the problem with this kind of business model is that it's going to take a long time to get your money back. So for any investor to be able to exit this business, they rely on the company's valuation increasing drastically and the company actually being more successful, right? So yeah, let's continue watching and see what the other dragons offer.
Thank you very much for the honest feedback.
Francisco, you're very, very good, but you don't need any of us to tell you that. You know that, you've got a proven track record, you've put your own money, you've just got everything going for you. And I'm guessing the offer that's on the table is kind of like, this is what I'm offering, are you in or are you out?
Quite honestly, it is the case because most of the people who are participating in the round have been the previous investors, and then the ones who helped me from the beginning have believed in this since I said, hey, are you willing to come with me on this ride? I kind of feel that I could shortchange them.
Because you believe all investors are created equal.
No, but everyone's money.
And yeah, sorry guys, sorry for pausing it right here. But one thing that you need to also know is that investors will always try to shortchange you as an entrepreneur in terms of the valuation. Let's say, for example, you had an investor that invested in you before you even created the product. The valuation of your company is not the same when, let's say, somebody invested in you in the beginning and someone invested in you after, let's say, the prototype has been made or after you've made sales, right? Not all investors are the same. That's one thing we need to make clear. Not all investors are the same. And, there are in certain Dragon's Den episodes sometimes, right? Peter says that, it doesn't feel good that, another investor is paying less for the company. No, that's just him just using negotiation tactics to try and, get more value out of the company than he should be getting, to be honest. But that's something that you need to know. You need to be able to stand your ground as an entrepreneur and make sure that you don't get bullied through in terms of the valuation.
And then they will ruin my relationship with the other investors, and it just creates a nightmare if it doesn't happen like that.
It's fine, I'm in.
Oh, wow.
I'd be in on this. And I understand it's just a small little seat on a big bus, but I tell you what, it's a good bus to be on, isn't it?
Oh.
So yeah, I would give you all that money, the $250,000 for 1%.
I'm very flattered.
Francisco, I just don't think that I can do a better deal for you than Sarah's done here. I would happily give you the 250 grand, but I wouldn't do it for 1%. I'd need 3% of the business. So I'm just going to be really honest with you, because I think what you're doing is great, but
So
I
is
have
that
the
an offer?
opposite. That's an offer. I mean, it's a straight offer. I'd do 250 grand for 3%. Having said that, my experience, and I've raised a lot of money, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and not all of my investors are created equal.
No.
There are some that are more useful, depending on the stage that I'm at. And that's not about being disrespectful to anybody on your cap table. It's just that different people are good at different times. So I'd give you that offer. You have a different offer right next to me, and I'm sure you'll get something else. But you know where I stand, at least at this point.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Congratulations
much.
to you.
And Francisco, do you know what? I could not have described that better than Emma, because I made you an offer before I even knew how much you wanted and what equity you wanted, right? So I'm going to keep to my honor there and keep that offer.
Oh,
So my offer is there with a slight tweak.
okay. Great.
And my tweak comes in the form of advisory shares, to Emma's point, because I think that is so true. Not everybody is equal on that cap table when you look through it. You do always and often.
So it's kind of important to actually explain what Peter said, like what advisory shares are, because Peter actually mentioned it. Advisory shares basically are, you're asking for a percentage of the company, but you are acting as an advisor. And by that, it means that you are giving more, you're not giving up rather, but you're actually, adding more value to the company in terms of whether you're actually giving them guidance or you're building their network or you're improving the company in some way, right? But with advisory shares, the difference between a regular share and an advisory share in this scenario is that advisory shares, they don't get everything right from the get-go. They go through something called vesting, right? And with vesting, basically, based on the amount of work you've put in and how long you've put in that work for, you'll be getting the percentage that was initially agreed upon. So you won't get everything at once like regular shares, but you'll be getting it over time with advisory shares. And the good thing with advisory shares is that with the investor may be able to help steer the company towards a particular direction, but they have no voting rights. So even if, for example, let's say somebody has 90% advisory shares in the company, they can still not make a decision. So it protects the entrepreneur in terms of them being able to keep control of their company. I just needed to let you know because it's quite important to understand this context.
Get Avengers in investors, and I feel that I'm also one of those. So I want 3% advisory shares. And the benefit of that is that you can keep your cap table without offending anybody at that 1%, and nobody gets diluted. The only person that dilutes is you, because you believe in the value of having me. So that's my offer.
Thank you.
1% plus 3% advisory.
So one thing to actually, pay attention to is dilution. So by dilution basically means that, for example, let's say you have two people that have invested in your company, 20% each. So that's 40% in general, right? And that means you have 60% and the other two investors together have 40% of the company, right? If you need more to raise more money, that means that you will need to sell more of your company to be able to get more money out of it, right? And let's say at the point that you're trying to raise more money, let's say the company has, improved in some way, whether they've started, done a prototype, whether they've started sales, whether they are expanding. Companies need to raise more money in different stages. So what dilution means is that when you're raising more money, the people who originally had that 40% and 60%, more percentage has to come from somewhere, right? So dilution basically means that, let's say another person comes and buys 10% of the company, and initially I said £40,000 for 40% for the first scenario. But now let's say they're in the second stage where they need to raise more money. That means that you will need, let's assume that the next investor spends £500,000 for 10% of the company, right? That means that the effective equity that the original investors and the owner has would have to reduce. So they will have to split it up to account for that 10%. So that's what dilution means. So investors don't like dilution because that means that they don't have to compete in raising more money for capital injection all the time for every investment run. So that's just something that's worth explaining, the term dilution.
Francisco, I think you're great, and I love the vision. It doesn't bother me whether it's a smaller percentage, because if you've got a business that you expect is going to really, really gun it, then, that's a great thing to be part of.
Let me not lie, right? I do think it bothers a lot of investors. The only issue here is that it's not even an issue. It's just because he has a proven track record. I can bet anything with you guys that if he came here without a proven track record, no matter how good his idea is, they wouldn't be putting this much money in the business. They are throwing a lot of money in this business right now because they have that much faith in this guy. When investors look at the entrepreneurs first before the product idea, you may have an excellent product idea, but the entrepreneur might not be capable of delivering that idea. And you may have a very mediocre product idea and have an excellent entrepreneur. It's still worth investing in that entrepreneur in particular.
So I am going to make you an offer.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to offer you all of the money. I want 2% of the business.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Just Stephen left.
I'm going to do something that I don't typically do. I like to park myself above the other dragons when I make an offer, typically. But I actually believe that if you took an offer today that was outside of this ask, it probably wouldn't happen. It would annoy too much of the people that have supported you on the journey you've been on. So I've sat here. The reason I've paused is because I've come to a point where I realize that the offer is the offer. And you are so fantastic that I am going to give you that. I'm going to give you the 250K for 1% of the business.
Yeah, it's really, really rewarding. I mean, this is really overwhelming. It's been a surreal experience, to be quite honest. And now, definitely on Sarah and Stephen, like you offer, like it is why I came here asking. So what can I say?
You want to raise $1 million, don't you?
I want to raise $1 million, but I'm very fixed about the valuation for the reasons what I said.
But you could always accept those two offers at 250,000 for 1% each, and then you will get 500,000 for 2%.
Yeah. I'm happy to accept both offers because there's still room in the round.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that's the only way I was getting on the journey.
Well done.
Thank you so much. It's like wonderful.
He got what he came for. He had a good pitch. What I think about the products, you know, then again, in the West, for example, a lot of people dyed hair. It's pretty useful. In terms of adoption, it's yet to be seen on how he executes it. So, you know, we look forward to seeing how this business pans out. But thank you very much for watching. You know, if you like the video, like it, consider subscribing so that you can see more future videos in this channel. And I hope to see you again very soon.